Roxo Media House.
Welcome to the show, folks. This is Fortitude, the Cliburn Series. We have a special guy in the studio today, Brenton, Arseniy Gusev. He's from St. Petersburg, Russia. He's 23. He's been living in Cleveland for the last 4 years, but he just participated in the Cliburn competition, and he's joining us on the show. We want to get to know this guy a little bit. Welcome, Arseniy.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here today.
Yes, thank you. Where have you been living the last 4 weeks or so?
Well, for the last 4 years, I was in Cleveland, and recently I was so fortunate to get to know JW.
He's been bunking up with me at home.
You can be honest now, Arseniy.
No, it's been such a pleasure, and really one of the best host families I could ever wish for.
And he made us homemade borscht the other day.
Delicious. What is in it?
Beets.
Sausage?
Beets
Lots
mostly.
of beets.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah, the vegan. Was it difficult? Is that typically
It's
the way
usually
to...
cooked with meat, so I had to fake something.
Yes.
Yeah.
Did you use some type of, what's it called, impossible meat or something
No,
like that?
just
No,
beets.
I had to use a lot of
Beets.
oil, but yeah.
When I mean beets, it's just beets.
Yeah.
There's a couple other things,
Carrots
but
and cabbage as
yes,
well.
it was wonderful, though.
I'll bet that we quickly went off to our own rooms after that meal.
I don't know what you're
At the
talking about.
Wilson
Back to the
family.
guest, Arseniy. So thank you for being here. Tell us about your childhood, St. Petersburg. When did piano become part of your life?
Well, it was quite early. I was 5, and we just happened to be, in this center of the city. We were fortunate with having friends, musicians, and one of these friends brought an upright piano to our apartment, and
Yeah.
I was immediately curious, started experimenting with it, and my grandmother asked me if I would like to go to music school after that, and I said that I would be so interested and I would love to learn how to play.
Did she just watch you? You were just captivated by this person playing the piano in the apartment?
In some ways, I wanted to compose something first, so I didn't start playing right away. But I was fascinated with a couple of poems at that time, and one of them was written by Pushkin, famous Russian poet. And I felt like it would be wonderful to put it on music, so I played a little tune on this poem, and then I was asked if I would like to go to music school after that.
Arseniy, he knows who Pushkin is. He's very into Russian poetry, so
Oh, wonderful.
he's good there.
Yeah,
yes.
Pushkin is...
So
I can't even remember.
not even piano was there. You also started composing at an early age, is correct, right?
That's right. Yeah, I always was very passionate about writing something.
Very nice. Ultimately, it led you to the St. Petersburg Conservatory, where you studied composition and piano, correct?
Yes.
And you're professor there?
I also went to a special music school of conservatory, where it's one of the advantages I think we have in Russian early education, as well as in some other countries. We have this very early music education, which is very systematic. So you go to classes like almost in general education school, except many subjects are actually related to music. So you get exposed to a lot of deep, tradition and culture.
How many hours a day? So, like of general studies, how many hours, and then how many hours of music?
Let me think. Of course, it's changes. It changes from year to year. In the beginning, it was something maybe 5 hours a day, and 2 or 3 of them would be musical subjects. 2 of them would be general subjects, and then it would be changing from year to year. But also, that would not include any of the playing, because I would still have to practice, and I would have ensemble classes to play with other students.
Okay.
How was your childhood, Arseniy? Describe your childhood for us in St. Petersburg.
Well, I'm very thankful to have very supportive and very inspiring parents at the same time. I mentioned before that they are actually... they're not musicians, but they're both artists. My mom is a choreographer, dancer, and my father is film critic and film director. So I heard a lot of different kinds of music since I was very little, and they would always support many, explorations I've been doing in music, and their creativity would always inspire me and influence me in different ways.
So who was more strict and more critical, the film critic or the choreographer? I can imagine that would be a tough tough to become what you've become, because who was harder on you, your mom or your dad?
It's hard to say because they have different personalities, and in many ways they both can make you very uncomfortable. But you can always feel the warmth and the unconditional love, which is incredible. So
Yeah.
my father is I admire greatly. He's able to quote different books and different poems in different languages.
Mm-hmm.
He has this photographic memory, and he has incredible, very systematic mind, almost like a Renaissance man in a way. He is able to do many things.
Almost like yours, yes.
I'm trying to copy him sometimes. And my mom is far more intuitive and very emotional person, also capable of a lot of things, speaks many languages and knows so much. Just a little bit more spontaneous and more unpredictable.
Yeah.
Which also can be crazy.
In 2018, you graduated from the conservatory and moved to Cleveland, among other places, New York, Boston, but Cleveland, the Cleveland Institute of Music, where you studied for the last 4 years under Sergei Babillon for piano and Keith Fitch for composition, two known professors in this world, big players in the world. You performed many places across the world, yes? What are some of the more known places you performed?
Oh, well, one of the most memorable experience was in Vienna, where I was fortunate. It was back in 2013.
That's in Austria, Brenton.
That's the capital of
I'm
Austria.
familiar.
Yes, and there is a beautiful concert hall in Vienna where I was fortunate to play, and it's it was so special to visit the city as well and to touch this very unique atmosphere, because it's full of music. It's also full of, in general, full of art and incredible, unique culture. So
does that inspire your playing? Do you find that when you're in that place like that, it can help with your performance?
Yeah, the surroundings inevitably influence whatever I do, and I can even see how my style of writing changes from time to time when I live in different places.
Yeah.
And the challenge there is to remain true to yourself, so not to be dissolved in the space, but rather to absorb the best of it and then give it back on a different level with something which can interest the people who live in the space.
Did the Wilson household do that to you?
We tried.
I was inspired very much, and I happened to give a present, to be able to write a little present for GW's wife, Andrea.
Oh, wow!
She had birthday recently, so I felt it was a very nice thing to do, to write a little song for her. And
he composed the piece for my wife.
I was kidding about that, and that's awesome.
He really did.
Yeah. That's awesome.
So before we get into some of that stuff, you applied for the Clyburn from Cleveland. You get selected through your auditions. You make it to Fort Worth. You came here in March for the auditions, the live auditions, and you got selected for the competition. What was the Clyburn like in your mind? Just give us just an overview of the experience for you for the Clyburn.
Well, I have to say that I didn't do almost any piano competitions before the pandemic. So the pandemic was pushing me in a way, and it pushed me to start kind of to start exploring these competitions and to feel motivated to develop further, because the concert got cancelled, and I thought it's I have to find more unusual motivation to practice and to learn new pieces. So I looked at the list of competitions and I applied to several. Clyburn got postponed. We didn't know it right away, but it got postponed from 2021 to the next year. So I decided if I was going to apply, I should do it anyways. Even the pandemic is almost over, but hopefully I should still apply and see what happens. I obviously heard so many great things about this competition, and to me it's more like a festival where I meet my friends and or make new friends, exchange ideas, and explore music further.
Just to make it to the competition, Britain's the 30 most qualified amateurs in the world. It's everybody there is a significant player, and they're all really smart, really wonderful performers, musicians. This guy does that and composes all in the same. Spends roughly 10 hours a day, I think, more or less. I've heard him practice for 10 hours a day. It's amazing, but he spends so much time on his craft. It's the dedication to your music, Arseniy, is what the most impressive thing about you. You're so dedicated to what you do, and it shows. So.
Thank you. It's just that I'm combining both things, composition and piano, so I have to make sure I don't fall too much behind on any of the.
Tell us the weather. You told me that earlier in St. Petersburg, because I think that can contribute to the practice schedule as well.
That's true as well. There is not much to, not many great things you can say about the weather in St. Petersburg unless you are really into foggy and kind of mind-sickening weather. And well, it's pretty much dark and. Except that June, actually, right now is one of the best times in St. Petersburg because we have a thing which is called white nights when sun almost never sets down, and it's utterly romantic. It's very beautiful. However, we get an opposite version of it in December and in November when it's almost always dark, and there is almost feels like there is no hope, at least until the snow comes down. You just see these naked branches, very wet trees. This terrible, merciless wind.
Really? Coming off the water?
That city itself is really beautiful. There is hardly one more city which could compete with, this sort of atmosphere, because it was built as a capital. It's not very common. It was built as a capital. It has a lot of great architecture from across Europe, a lot of Italian, French buildings. Maybe I would say Prague in Czech Republic could be, another example of this sort of mix of different.
So Arseniy, since we're discussing Russia, we have to ask the obvious question. We know it's a very sensitive subject for the entire world, but being from Russia, you now live in the United States. Your English is phenomenal, which you learned in 4 years. Tell us in your words what the Ukrainian-Russian situation means to you.
Well, I was quite devastated to learn about the start of the of the war, and I have so many friends in Ukraine as well. In fact, I felt an urge to replace some pieces in my screening audition program in March in Fort Worth. I was supposed to play a lot of Russian music, and I almost wanted to cancel my participation because I saw not only that I wasn't sure how to identify myself, if I should really present this country, but also I saw how much hate there is actually from everyone, not everyone, but many people towards Russian musicians and Russian culture. So I felt very uncertain about it. And the only reason why I didn't cancel the participation, because I thought it might be better to support a Ukrainian composer who was at the moment in Kiev with what I can do, the least I can do. I played his piece in the screening audition. His name is Valentin Silvestrov, and he, before all this crisis, before 2014, he already was one of my favorite living composers. So I always wanted to perform his works, and I learned some of them. So it was a very not very easy solution, but I thought it was the best I can do, and I'm grateful for the Clyburn to be flexible about it.
Yeah,
right.
That's a great answer.
Well, Fort Worth is grateful that you're here, truly, and that we know that's not an easy situation for you to be in. We know you're not supportive of what's happening over there, but music, obviously, is the universal language, correct? We've talked about this offline many times. Music that transcends all problems in the world somehow, some way. So you being here is a big deal. So thank you. Where are you headed after this?
I'm going to spend several days in New York for recording sessions with a very good friend of mine. She's a singer, and we've been working on a cycle of songs based on Marc Chagall's poetry. And it might sound weird because he is very well known as a painter, but he did write several poems in French, Yiddish, and Russian. And my friend, she's putting together several of his songs, which eventually will be premiered in a church in New York, where Chagall painted the murals. And it's a very special project for me, so I'm very excited about it.
What about in the fall? Where will you be?
And in the fall, I'm planning to start my master's program in Yale University.
New Haven, Connecticut,
yes,
baby. All right.
I have one more question before we go. When you first did the composition to that poem, who recited that in your home?
Well,
or was it done in the home, or did you? Or did you recite the poem while you were playing? Or
I just was reading the poems, and one of them, Winter Road, was particularly inspiring for me. So I just sat down, put melody, and then I sang it with my playing.
Okay,
so that's how it happened.
Beautiful.
I just have two more, but tell us about your experience in Fort Worth. What do you love about Fort Worth? Did you love Fort Worth? Some of the food, was the food up to your liking? Besides the borscht, we know you like the borscht.
Well, I first of all, I cannot emphasize enough that I enjoyed so much the stay, and I think it wouldn't have been the same without you and without your wonderful family. What I could also add is that I was fortunate to visit some museums. I really enjoyed Kimball collection because it's not very large, but it has really unique things in it. I did see the African exhibit as well, which I think is very, very special.
Nice.
So I definitely enjoyed that, and the food has been nice. I know
Any favorites?
It doesn't look like he ate very much.
I
Have you
know.
seen his physique?
To be honest, I'm not into food. I enjoy eating with great people, and I think that's what makes food special. You can eat kind of very mediocre food. If it's your best friend, you will enjoy this food the best.
I'm sorry for the vegan diet of my friend here.
He's got to get out of here. He's going to gain weight being in Texas all the time.
Yeah.
You're going to play a 5-minute composition or after this. What are you be playing for us?
I think I might play some of my own pieces, and I thought it would be nice to play my first toccata, which is dedicated to Bach. There are 3 of them, but the first one seems to be nice gratitude to Fort Worth. And
beautiful. Thank you for being here, Arseniy. How can people find you online?
I have a website. I have a YouTube channel. You can always reach out to me.
Arseniy.
Precisely.
Arseniy
Gusev.
He's going to be a major force in the classical musical world in the future.
Yeah.
Thank you for being here,
Thank you
Arseniy.
so much.
We appreciate
Thank you,
your time.
Arseniy.
Thank you.